Hey there, Bogdan here. And if you are an entrepreneur that is making 50, 100, 150K per month, and there is like some invisible force that is consistently stopping you from progressing and making 300, 500, 1 million per month. And because of that, you consistently go through uncertainty, stress, and many other sufferings. Then you should watch this video. This client of mine came after he sold his business successfully, and then he got a job that he was happy with until he decided he's not happy, and he was having a problem to start again his business because he was consistently struggling. What am I worth enough? Am I deserving of something better? Obviously he wasn't aware of that until we discover that part. And just watch the video. Maybe it will be valuable for you and you can discover what is the bottleneck within you that is crippling your business. Let's go. So, welcome, Nicholas. Welcome to this sacred place where we get to share the experiences for everyone who is looking and watching this for a first time. It's a place where we get to share the clients' experiences, breakthroughs, and everything going through the unbelievable experience and by using the Beer and Atlas method. And first, I want to welcome you here. It's great to see you again. And let's start, man. Like, introduce yourself so people can get to know you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk today. Yeah, so my name is Nicholas Bueno. Currently working on launching a coaching offer. I used to be an agency owner. I've been working in online marketing for over 6 years. Currently living in Thailand, born and raised Canadian. Have been almost living here for a year now. So there's been a lot of change in my life in the last 10 to 12 months. Recently got married, which was very exciting, January 2nd. And yeah, I came to Bogdan because I wanted to prepare myself to leave my job and launch this new offer that I'm working on. And for a while, every time I sat down to work on it, I just felt this strong resistance. And I knew that it was something internal. It wasn't trying to brute force my way through for results. And I knew that it wasn't a strategy or a funnel hack that was going to get me there. And so I had met Bogdan in July, so about 6 months prior, and I was very impressed by everything he said at the retreat. It made a lot of sense from an inner work standpoint because I've been very interested in this stuff for at least 2-3 years now. And I interviewed him on my YouTube channel. Everything sounded a lot better than even the first time. And so I asked him, hey, what does it look like to work together? And it sounded like exactly what I needed. And it was exactly what I needed.
Now, you mentioned that you were feeling a certain resistance. Can you explain how does that resistance looks like used to look like, how that resistance was manifesting in your day, in working day, in I don't know, resting days? How was that resistance showing up for you?
Yeah, of course. So it was showing up for me in the way that I had a really tough time working on what I wanted to work on. I'd get really excited. I'd think I have something here. I'm really pumped to launch this thing. Then I'd sit down, look at my keyboard, look at my computer, and just freeze like a deer in headlights. And after sitting for a bit and kind of thinking, like, okay, what am I feeling? Like, what's going on? I could hear the voice very clearly. It was saying, I'm unworthy. Who am I to start my own thing? I feel like I'm a bad person. And as I say this now, just like in my body, I'm like, nah, that's not true. So that's how you know there's been a bunch of progress made. But I could hear my thoughts very clearly, and I latched onto those thoughts, and it made it very difficult to work because after all, if I thought I was a bad person, why would I work on getting my message out in front of more people? That just makes no sense. If I thought that I was undeserving and unworthy, like why would I try to get client? Like like it's very simple when you break it down from that standpoint. So I knew that as I'm getting ready to leave this job, I want to prioritize my offer and I want to prioritize my work and I want to sit down and work on it. And it really excited me, this idea. And sometimes I'd sit down and work on it for like 15 minutes and then I'd freeze. And I'd look at my computer and I'd be like, fuck, like I know what I have to do, but I'm just not getting there. And there were two options for me. There's always more than two options. You could do it. I could have, joined the circus and moved to Cambodia or something. I could have done anything. But for this scenario, there were two options for me. It's like, okay, I could white knuckle the steering wheel and slam stimulants and try to push my way into this, which I've never really been a fan of. I'm very grateful to that I never went that route. Or I could do the efficient thing and think, and look at the code that I'm operating on, because there's clearly some type of misalignment or contradiction, or things just aren't going in the right direction for me to have this level of confusion and this level of resistance. So I have a strong journaling practice that I've been doing for a while. I could kind of see the thoughts very clearly. Just based on what Bogdan talked about, or you're Bogdan, I don't even talk in third person. Based on what you talked about in your content and what we've talked about in person, it became very clear that I'm like, I need to get past these. I know they're there and I've done work on them, but some of the things that you told me was like a lot of people just cope or manage the stories, the triggers, the emotions, and that's just cutting off the branch of a tree. Okay, like cool, the branch is going to grow back. And what do you do then? Okay, maybe you cut off more branches, but they keep growing back. And I feel like when we worked together, I was really able to dig into the roots and build something new. So that was really, really exciting.
Yeah, it is interesting approach because many entrepreneurs like you, they already know what to do for their next step. Maybe they're making like 50, 100, 200K per month. Even if some of them that I've been working with them, they have been multi-millionaires already. However, that next level was always scary. That next
Mm-hmm.
level was always uncomfortable. That next level was always out of a capacity. And it was not because they don't know what to do when it comes profession wise. It was not because they don't have the skills. It was not that because they don't have a strategy to do that part. It was that part of themselves that was not supporting that growth. It was
Mm-hmm.
that inner beliefs, inner values, inner different type of attitudes that were
Mm-hmm.
not supporting the person that has achieved those future goals already. And obviously
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a self-sabotage. It becomes you got frozen. Simply your body is giving you like a feedback. Hey, this is not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not safe. And like it's scary, but at the same time gives you a feedback saying like stop fucking thinking this way
Mm-hmm.
and resolve these emotions so you can actually move forward and take decisions congruently rather than with insecurities or with some inner conflicts. Anyway, you came, we spoke, we did what we did, right? I want you to guide us. How was your experience throughout these 5 days? Like, give me a couple of, let's say, aha moments, wow moments,
Mm.
or anything that you never expected is gonna happen that happened.
Yeah. Okay. For sure. The first thing I do want to say is it's very obvious that you really care about your clients, and not from an overbearing, please get results because it validates me. Just that this means a lot to you, and I could tell that. And it was really awesome. I felt like I was in good hands. I always felt like I was taken care of, and I always felt like it was an environment that was going to support my growth. So that's the first thing I just want to say. Second thing is some pointers. One thing that pops up is it gets to be simple if you allow it. Like when you explained everything to me, the second day, which you always say everybody says is the most boring day, you like it, you think it's the most exciting day, was really illuminating for me because everything made sense. It was very simple. Hey, this is how your conscious mind works. This is how your unconscious mind works. It works because, there's so many data bits, can only process so much. So it does X, Y, and Z to preserve you, to do blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. And then when we were doing the exercises, it made sense. It was like a cutting butter with a hot knife. I was like, okay, well, it speaks in symbols. It needs to do this, this, and this to get this result. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we're done. Awesome. Next thing. So that was super impressive is the word that comes to mind, but very surprising that. And I'd heard this. People have told me it gets to be simple if you allow it to be, and so it's like reading a textbook. Okay, that's something I know, but I didn't know it. Like in my heart, I didn't feel it. Like, wow, that is how it gets to be.
It's a difference
Um,
here, you know of it. Most of the people that are especially in this self-development, self-help, they read so many books, they attend seminars, and like they go and do all that stuff there, which is actually great. And they come to even understand, they have the insights, they know the things. They can even teach those things, they're becoming coaches. But if you know it and you don't do it, trust me, you don't know a fucking shit, right? You know of it rather than knowing it. So there is a very big
mhm,
difference between knowing it and knowing of it. Most of the people get stuck in knowing it simply because they don't allow themselves to experience or explore something that they never heard of, something.
mhm,
Because sometimes I am in a group setting on certain, I don't know, networking events and I tell them, like, man, not a big deal, I can get rid of I can help you get rid of your trauma that you have been carrying for the last 25 years in literally 3 minutes. And they're looking at me like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot, like, how is that even possible? How
mhm.
is that even possible? I was like, well, you become a client and then you see how it is. And many of them,
Yeah.
they did. And they were like, oh, how does this even work? It doesn't really matter how does it works. It matters the
Mhm,
result that you get.
mhm,
If you don't keep yourself open to even explore that, and you operate from a place of I already know all this stuff, nothing works, that's not really intelligent thing to do.
mhm,
Because then you're not in the learning stage. And you cannot know with what you don't know. Simply, we don't know what we don't know. There is no way or capability of us to know absolutely everything about a given subject. So I have like one rule, like I approach life, every circumstance, every conversation, everything that I interact with from a place of I don't know what I don't know.
mhm,
And that way I can actually keep I call them like keep my peripheral vision ready
mhm,
for whatever comes in. I can notice it and I can allow it to enter my world, so I can actually start learning about it, getting better into it, and learning it, getting to know it, getting to know of it
mhm.
first, and until I
Yeah.
embody it and to mm, really know it and do it
Mhm.
and implement it. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
continue.
Well, one of the things you said as well, and you had mentioned this a couple times when we had met, when we did my YouTube video, was that if trauma can be created in a second, it can be released in a second. And that for me was just such a like duh moment. I don't have to carry this stuff. I don't have to hang on to it. And then the next step that pushed me over the line to work with you was, well, I don't know how. And okay, like it's great to internalize this, and okay, awesome, I can. I just don't know how to do it. It's like telling somebody, hey, you can get in the best shape of your life and it doesn't have to be crazy. And it's like, awesome, okay, well, I still need a trainer. Like, I don't know how to do this. So I was like, well, let me get the trainer, because otherwise I'm just gonna fucking try to figure it out on my own and probably not get there. So let me find the trainers. That was another thing. And I think the third thing that sticks out to me is it comes from what you said on the retreat. You're like, nobody can make you feel anything. You need to take accountability for the feelings you have, because it comes from the stories you have. Like, and this is what you said to me during the work. It stuck out. You said, if I told you I hate your green hair, it looks like shit, you wouldn't care, because you'd be like, I don't have green hair. But you're convinced that you don't have green hair because the story that's been embedded in your mind that you continue to run with and choose to.
That's a belief.
So
I believe I don't have a green fucking hair, right?
yeah, I believe I'm 16 one day, and on your birthday you turn 17. Like, you didn't have to hype yourself up or go in the forest and punch trees to turn 17. You just turned 17. So the fact that I can be accountable for every single thing I go through was super liberating and very empowering, because it doesn't matter where the belief came from. I chose to align with it, and I kept choosing to align with it, whether it served me or not. And it serves you in ways that, keeps you safe and all that stuff, and in your mind, or it's familiar. But I can choose differently, and it actually can be easy if I allow it to be easy. I just need to learn how to engage it in the right way.
Yeah. Now, day three was a
Mhm.
massive day, right?
Yeah.
When we went and literally erased all the negative emotional residue on all the events in your past from the moment you were born
Hmm.
until now. Now, many people are
Hmm.
they don't even know this type of concept, so now they get to hear about that part.
Hmm.
First, I want you to tell me, what were you facing in your day to day? What happened after we deleted all the negative emotional residue from your past? Absolutely everything, including sadness, fear, guilt,
Hmm.
shame, hurt, anger, and all of that part. And how did you feel the next day? And how do you feel now when it comes to that?
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting. So day to day, a really easy thought pattern for me to slip into was to go into guilt, shame, fear, anger towards myself, towards a lot of things, because those were the choices I had made to go down for many years, for many, many, many years. And so when I would seemingly make a mistake, which is subject, right? What does that mean? Some people would think that some mistakes aren't even mistakes at all. And it could have been as simple as like, I forgot something going to the grocery store. I could still pay, but I forgot something and I would just get so angry at myself. I wanted to launch my offer and I wasn't able to work on it as much as I wanted to. And so instead of being able to get as much done as I can, I'd get mad at myself and waste an extra hour or two being pissed off and needing to calm myself down. And so day three, I was really excited for because that was the day we were supposed to delete the past emotions. And there was a part of me though that I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like you delete my emotions. Is this guy on crack or something? And I obviously was willing. I was there, but there's that skeptic in me though. It just couldn't wrap its head around. I just couldn't wrap my head around it fully. So when we did the exercises, during the exercises, it was a very surreal feeling because again, it just all seemed so simple once I was over the finish line. I was like, oh, yeah, duh. I just never knew this. I just never knew how simple this was. And so being able to see certain emotions just evaporate and trying to go access them and just like them not being available was incredible. Anger was the first one we did. And
I still remember your face.
I felt such a weight off my shoulders because anger is something that I've struggled with for so long. It had become such a familiar pathway for me to go down. It had become so familiar for me to go into, and I knew it very well. And so I knew that it wasn't ultimately serving my long term goals. And to have that ability to not go down that pathway and have it be the default was so amazing. There was one I remember. It was the fourth one. I can't remember if it was guilt or what are the five ones we went through? Anger,
We went for
sadness.
anger, then we went sadness, then we went fear, then we went hurt, then we went guilt.
Correct. Hurt. I felt like I went to this moment that I labeled as hurt, and it felt reduced, but not nearly as much as I thought. Then we did guilt, and I felt it completely evaporate. So that was also very interesting. How certain moments that we are quote unquote just traumatized for lack of a better term, there's often a mix of emotions associated with the stories we tell ourselves about the event. And so we think, oh, I feel angry about this, but there's often a lot of other things involved in this scenario. So to go through those five was incredible. It was absolutely insane. And how I'm feeling now, sometimes I can feel my thoughts want to go down similar paths because they're familiar. It just there's no emotion there though. Like it's like trying to grab at air, you know what I mean? Like or it's
Now,
going down an
if you think about any event in the past, if you
Mhm.
think about any event where before it used to allow you to feel anger, sadness, or any event in the past, now when you think of that event, what happens?
I don't feel that.
So the
I
memory is
just go,
there, but
oh.
there is no charge, right?
Mhm.
So you can try to access that um, past emotion as much as you want. Good luck doing that, right?
Yeah, and even after the days with some of the exercises that you've given me, it's become incredible to see how quickly they can evaporate as well. It's become incredible to see how easily I can let go of things once I start to build the skill. Like anything is a skill. I last year, excuse me, I went to Germany for a month with my brother because I realized that having fun is a skill, and I have not built the skill of having fun. So letting go of emotions is also a skill. Once you get in the rhythm of it and you choose it consistently, and you do the heart brain coherence breathing every day, 3 times a day, twice on the days you travel because you can't keep your eyes open. But you do it consistently, and you choose a different path for yourself. It just becomes easier and easier. So I've been doing the exercises consistently as well. And sometimes I even go, okay, I want to do the Purba exercise on this thing that I think is bugging me. And then I go throughout my day and exercise and eat. And then I think at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, it really wasn't bugging me. That's fine. It's not a problem. I was just hungry, or I was just tired, or I just had to do this thing. And my mind was confusing emotions for tasks, and it was trying to distract me. That's okay.
I
So
remember that
it's
one part when you came in, and when we were initially doing the mapping, the nervous system patterns and everything that was happening, we came up with maybe 30, 40 different limiting beliefs that were existing in your nervous system, that were there, that were true for you. You know, I cannot do this, I'm not worthy enough, I'm this. Like, there were like a complete list of it. What happened with that?
I laughed at them after about 3 days because I'm like, those sound stupid. You're reading them to me, and I'm like, no, no, I can't. I just don't feel it. It's just not there. That doesn't resonate with me anymore.
Yeah,
So that was really sweet.
and how long it takes to actually raise a limiting belief and install a new empowering belief instead?
3 minutes. I mean, depending on how long you want to make it, right? Because I'm sure if you wanted to take longer, you could have, and I'm sure if I wanted to take it longer, I could have. But I was willing, and I was really ready to change, and so.
Well, that makes a difference between real client and someone who thinks only it's a client but not ready, right? Here it
Mhm.
comes to the teachability index of the people. Some people aren't really teachable, or they're not ready to be teachable yet, right? Even though they say I am teachable, the moment when it comes to the point of they need to change how they think about everything, and they need to change how they feel about everything, resistance pops up. So those people are not even clients for me. I'm not going to even work with them no matter fucking what, right?
Mhm.
So that's why
Yeah.
I don't do sales calls. I jump on a call just to check your teachability index. Are you ready to work with me or not? Otherwise, off you go and do your, I don't know, sound healing there, and like, just go do breath work and just cope with the things rather than actually erasing the
Mhm.
shit that is the baggage that is being there, and it is stopping you for everything. So no judgment, like absolutely no judgment. As a human beings, as funny as it sounds, we learn the best going through pain, right?
Mhm.
So if
Mhm.
someone chooses to go through more pain and longer painful living, who am I to stop them, or to rob them for the opportunity for them to learn through higher pain,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Now some people are like you, resourceful enough, and they say, I have a problem, this is my problem, I'm going to commit to it, and I'm going to listen, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna be involved into everything, and then everything goes so well, so fast, so smooth, because simply I have a client, I have
Mhm.
a teachable and coachable person in front of me. Because if someone is not teachable, it's not coachable, and if it's not coachable, there is nothing that I can do to you.
Mhm.
It's all you doing it.
Yeah, I agree completely, and to be completely fair, maybe a couple of years ago, I would have fallen in that first category. I think that, when you're prepared, when you're truly ready to let go, the teacher will appear, right? We met at a retreat, and the retreat I went to, I signed up for Dan's thing, knowing I probably couldn't utilize it as best as I could in the moment when I signed up for Inner Circle. But I was like, I really want to go to one of his intensives, and I really just wanted just to do this for myself. And then I shut down my agency, and I was able to get into it more and more. And then he shut it down, so I got lifetime access. But if it wasn't for that decision, I wouldn't have met you, and I wouldn't be here. So it's truly this, when you're truly ready, the opportunity will present itself, and then it's on you to choose. Hey, I'm willing. Hey, I'm ready. There were times where, like I said, I was a bit skeptical in the back of my mind, but it's like, hey, I'm in this, and I'm really willing to see this through.
And those are my favorite people, the skeptics.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my favorite people. Why do I like? How many business owners there, or when they need to enroll a new client or something else, they're just feeling cringe when someone is skeptical and they see it like a bad thing. In my mind, in my perception, in my world, I think is actually a very good thing. Why? Skeptics tend to ask very good questions. Skeptics like to understand and learn more and better so they can evaluate the things of the validity
Mm-hmm.
of everything that is. What I wouldn't um, be willing to work with is a cynic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cynical people are those people that dismiss anything that is not familiar to them, and they're completely dismissing it without even giving it opportunity to learn that there is something. I had
Mm-hmm.
someone in my environment that was that type of a cynical person, and he was going to present himself like a super sophisticated and educated and all that part, and cool, like off you go.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the thing. And he was giving a certain opinions, and I was like, I don't remember you seeing in one of my workshops or in my coachings. Like I don't remember you.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me like that. I was like, you seem to me like a very intelligent person, but how can you evaluate knowledge until you learn it first? How can you give it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking, and I was like, you seem intelligent, but what you're doing now isn't really intelligent, right?
No. Yeah.
Because I'm more than sure you have already PhD degree that you don't know what you don't know, right? Like, yeah. And I was like, when are you going to allow yourself to look outside of the box that you have been conditioned that this is the only absolute truth, so you can actually at least get your knowledge expanded. And if you decide that this is not something that works and is crazy and like doesn't really work, I was like, then you make a decision and then you give a valuation of these type of things. And
Mm-hmm.
then he became a client, right? And then it was completely different. It was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
What was funny? Same person had already two PhD in psychology. Like already in his 60s, right? Two PhD in psychology. He was teaching psychology. He was psychologist itself or something else. And when we finished the work, he was like, I will trade all my degrees about what I've learned in these 5 days. But he was the like, this doesn't work at the beginning, right? And then if he stayed as a cynical person, he wouldn't learn, right? He'll just keep on where it is and keep that authoritative position that he is at. But eh, you know, people sometimes get to their senses, they start reasoning a little bit different, and then kind of magic happens
Yeah.
within.
Well, I'll say this as well. The other day I was walking. I just had a lot of things to get done before the end of the day. To-do list was growing faster than I would have wanted it to. I knew I needed to get to bed by a certain time because I'm trying to shift my sleep schedule. I had to eat. I had to also clean up a little bit because my wife was out to dinner with her friend, and I had to go get my A3 piece of paper, and I didn't know where to get one in Bangkok. And I was like, just getting frustrated because I was getting triggered. I'll say I was getting triggered because I felt like there was so much I had to get done, and time was slipping away from me. And instead of spiraling, which was a very common response for me, I was able to go, hey, you know what? I'm very grateful. I'm here in Bangkok. My wife's having a great time with her friend. They're catching up. They haven't talked in such a long time. I did such great work with Bogdan. I'm going to get a piece of paper to continue that. And I have an opportunity to work on my offer still and go to sleep at a good time. that seems pretty awesome. And it was just over.
Yeah. And
No spiral, no anger. And I got everything done by the end of the night.
so, how more productive are you now?
Well, a lot more productive. A lot more productive. Yeah, I'm able to sit down and actually get into flow states and work, which is something that was it was very hard to come by before. I would waste so much time. And there are times where I feel myself want to waste time. And I'm like, okay, what's actually going on here? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Do I not want to do this task? And if I don't want to do this task, do I have to? Can I delegate it? Can I put it off? I remember this one time in the past, really white knuckled my way into flow states. And when it didn't get me the recognition I wanted to, I stopped doing it because in my mind, I was doing it for significance. And I felt so sad, bitter about it because I felt like that was my one chance to access flow states in business, which is a ridiculous thing to tell yourself, by the way, at 25 years old or 24, however old I was. That's it. Flow states just aren't going to happen for me anymore for, I don't know, 75 more years.
Yeah. And what do I ask you when that happens? When did you decide that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And then we get
Exactly. And for
rid of
me,
that belief.
yeah, I remember that specifically. And now it's like, yeah, I'm able to hit flow states pretty consistently, even if I, had a weird sleep or, my parents called me, they needed something and I answer my parents. And because when I'm over here, just because the time zones are off, I don't talk to them as much as I'd like to. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to enjoy talking to my parents and I'm going to get work done after that. And I'm able to get work done. And, my wife needed something from me today and I was able to be there for her and hold space. And I got back to work afterwards. And there was like no emotional hangover or residue or this feeling of anger is just on the horizon. It was just like, yeah, of course my parents want to talk to me. Of course my wife is going to ask me for help if she needs something. And that doesn't mean don't set boundaries. There are going to be times where I'm not going to be able to talk to everybody. But, I just got married. My parents really wanted to talk and they're going to come out and see us. So, yeah, I'm going to talk to my parents. I'm not going to let it go an hour and a half, but like, I'm excited to see my parents. Like I want to enjoy my life. Like this isn't going to be the difference between making $100 million and being destitute on the street. So I'll be okay. And I just got married and my wife needed help with something and we just got to Thailand and we're still pretty jet lagged, but yeah, like this is what I signed up for. Like this is the life I asked. Like it's amazing to be able to have these things. And if I need to set boundaries, I'll set boundaries, but there's no confusion or weirdness or negative emotions that come in that I don't want. So it's great.
Yeah. So, if you put it in a nutshell,
Hmm.
what is the difference when you came on the first day on my
Hmm.
first session and after 5 days? What happened if we compare those two things, just in a nutshell, quick?
Sure. Yeah. I think the nutshell version would be before the work, I really struggled with worthiness, shame, guilt, and feeling like a bad person. By the end of the work, I thought those ideas were completely fucking ridiculous, and I couldn't believe that that was even in my body.
Is it better this way?
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. For the goals I have for myself and the life I want to live, post work is definitely the way I want to be.
Perfect. So, if you were to give advice to anyone that is watching, what is the one thing that you will give them as an advice?
If you're skeptical, that's okay. That will help you. Um, but there's a phrase I want to say. It's not coming to my mind. So um, hold space for yourself to be surprised. Leave room for yourself to be surprised if you're skeptical. And also, if what you're doing right now was working, you wouldn't be interested and you wouldn't be watching this. So if you're willing to get to where you want to go, and if you're willing to live from the place that you know you want to be at, what else do you need to do? Life can be simple if you choose for it to be. Releasing emotions can be simple if you choose for them to be. You just need somebody to show you how. And I fully endorse Bogdan's ability to do so.
Thank you for the endorsement, sir.
Of
And
course, of course.
anyway,
It'd be
Nicola.
crazy if I didn't by the end of this call. That'd be so weird.
Yeah, that will be a strong pattern interrupt, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was pleasure seeing you, brother. It was
Thank you
pleasure
very
even
much.
working with you, and I'm looking to see
Likewise.
achieving even more results in your life, achieving even more pleasure, even more peace, joy, even more happiness, and really want to see you. I cannot wait to see you actually being where you want to be.
Thank you. I can't wait either,
I will
but I'll
see.
enjoy the process.
I will see you soon. Thank you.